Hello, this is Professor Urbis White. Today we will talk about linear equations and particularly linear formulas. How can we solve a formula? And your physics and chemistry and biology teachers will be so happy when you can do this. All right. Okay. Solving for a variable. Up until now we were saying solve. We didn't even specify because there's only one letter, one variable. But in this case, there will be more than one variable. That means numbers that you can plug into letters. So I'll have more than one type of letter. So here I have an A and a B and a C actually. So I have to be specific when I want you to solve for a formula for a variable. So I have to say solve for A. That means I want A by itself. The best way to think of it is think of the remaining variables as numbers. So what would you have done if you had this situation, something like that? 2x plus 1 equals x plus 3. So this is like A, this is like B, this is like A again, and this is like C. What would you have done if you had this problem instead? You would have tried to move this x over and move this 1 over here. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So I want to move the A to the left. So I will subtract A. Distributive property, 2 minus 1, that's 1. So you have A plus B. And these two go equals C. Now, this is just like doing subtracting x. So you have x plus 1 equals 3. What would you have done next? You subtract 1, right? These two will go. You'll have x equals 3 minus 1. So this is just an example. So let's do the same thing. So I want to get rid of this b. So I subtract b. Guess what? A, these two will go. C minus b. The difference with this one and that one is I can subtract the numbers, but here, since I don't know the numbers, I just leave them alone. So this is the answer, A equals C minus B. That's one type of formula, and you actually solved it. All right, well, let's put it up a notch. I have 2A plus B equals A plus C. So solve for B. What do you do? Okay, I think I did that one, didn't I? So let me look at this. Solve for A. Oh, I'm going to do the same formula now, solve for B. So what that means is I want B by itself, right? So here B is together with A. So I'll get rid of it. So subtract A. These two go. B equals A minus 2A, 1 minus 2, that's negative 1. Guess what? So if you look at these two problems, in the first one I solved for A, and now in this one I solved for B. Okay, you can even solve for C. Let's add that one in there. Solve for C. If you solve for C, what would you have done? You 2A plus B equals A plus C. You're solving for C. That means you want C by itself. So what you need to do is just get rid of that A. So you have 2 minus 1, that's 1. And these two go, you have C. Do you see it? So you can solve for B, you can solve for C, you can solve for A. It doesn't matter. But what you're doing, you're isolating that letter that you're solving for, and then you treat everything else like numbers. Okay, what happens when I have like solving for a variable with the multiplication property? Okay, solve for A. Okay, well, B is multiplying A. So what do I need to do is divide. So these two go. A equals C over B. All right. Same formula. Let's say solve for B. What do? I want to isolate B. Then I need to get rid of A. B equals C over A. Do you see it? So it depends on what you want to solve for, but you can just pretty much do the same thing. Okay. Now, what do? Solve for A. Okay, well, in this case, you have a fraction. Remember, this is like the coefficient. Remember, that's how you were doing. To get rid of B over C, you need to multiply both sides by the reciprocal of that. B over C, that's C over B. C over B. And that's multiplying. Look what you can do. B's go, C's go, and you end up with A, D times C over B. Here we go. And this is a typical problem, something like this, PV and RT. Some of you who took chemistry, you'll remember this is the ideal gas law. This is pressure, volume, number of moles. If I remember my chemistry, this is a constant and it's the temperature. So if they want you to solve for P, the pressure of a gas, what you need to do is you need to isolate P. So that means you can divide both sides by V, and you get P equals nRT over V. So this is a very handy tool when you do these kind of multiplication problems. Okay. Okay, so what do I do when I have, multiplication and addition property all together? So I'm solving for A. Guess what? I need to get rid of this B. So add B. So you have 2A, these go, C plus B. Now I need to, this was the addition property, and then I need to get rid of this 2. So you end up with A equals C plus B over 2. Make sure you write them in such a way this equal sign is lined up with your fraction line. Okay? Okay, so let's put it up a notch. Solve for A. dA plus B equals E plus F. Ooh, when you throw in more numbers, more letters in there, it gets a little bit confusing. But I want to isolate the term with A in it. So get rid of everything else. Subtract B. So you have dA, these two go, equals E plus F minus B. You cannot add or subtract those because they are letters. I don't know what the numbers are. Solve for A. Now A has a D. That's multiplication. This is like a number. What do? Get rid of it. These two go. So what do you end up with? A equals E plus F plus minus B over D. When you look at it. I think I did that one right. Just move the B over and get rid of D. Okay. Okay. This one is the crucial one. We are going to have a breakthrough here. Solve for A, but this is the step that people will have problems with. Solve for A. I want A's on one side. How do I do that? Get rid of this one and move it over. So how do I do that? Now watch. You have this situation. dA minus 2A plus B equals F. Now A's are on one side, and I'll deal with them in a second. Now I want to get rid of the terms that don't have A's in them. So I need to get rid of this B. So you have dA minus 2A, these two go, equals F minus B. And here you get stuck. How do I do that? Do I divide by D? Do I divide by 2? You can't do that because you need to have A by itself and something in front of A. What is that? Distributive property. Remember, when A is repeating, you can pull what is in front of him out, D minus 2. So this is the crucial step. So distributive property. And this is the hard thing. Guess what? Now the coefficient of A is this whole thing, D minus 2. Divide by D minus 2. Divide by D minus 2. Let's write it nicely. You have A equals, let me make sure that you can see that. You have the bar, you have D minus 2, and on top you have F minus B. You see it? Very good. Okay, kind of similar. Solve for A. Uh-oh, I have an A and a number and all that. Same thing. Get rid of this A, move it to the left. Okay, these two go. You have a negative F on the right. On the left, you have 2dA minus 3A plus B. Now, these have A's in them, and that's what I wanted. Now, I need to get rid of this B. How? Addition property. These two will go. You'll have 2dA minus 3A equals negative f, negative b. All right, crucial step. Remember, I'll put my little asterisk in there. So A is repeating distributive property. A out. You're factoring out 2d minus 3. These are not like terms, so leave them alone. Negative f, negative b. Guess what? This whole thing is now the coefficient of A. Divide both sides by that so that you get rid of it. So let's write it nice and neat. You have A equals bar, the top negative f, negative b, and the bottom 2d minus 3. Okay? So this one is a little bit crucial. So that asterisk step, make sure you understand that. Okay, when we do actual formulas, this one, if you look at it, this is like the perimeter of a rectangle. You have to have some basic geometry and those kind of things to do these problems. Here we go. Here's my rectangle. Here's my length. Here's my width, or vice versa. The perimeter is 2 of these guys and 2 of these guys. All right? So solve for W. Let's say they give you the perimeter and they want you to solve for W. How do you do it? You need to isolate that. So that means you need to subtract 2L from both sides. So you have 2W equals P minus 2L. All right. Now what's in front of W? 2. Just get rid of it. What do you have now? W equals P minus 2L over 2. Don't do this. You cannot do that. So that's a problem. It's a distributive property. You have to use that if you are trying to simplify. You cannot simplify the 2's here right now. Okay. Another formula. Solve for H. Actually, I'll just tell you what that is from basic geometry. You have this situation. Here you go. Here's my height. This is a cylinder. Here is my radius. Surface area is when you open this thing up. And how will it look like when you open it up? Just think of cutting a Coke can or something. You're going to open this up, and then you're going to have a bottom and a top. And this is going to be your height, and this is going to be your radius. Now, the area of a circle is pi r squared. You have 2 of them, so 2 pi r squared. And then 2 pi r h, where did that come from? This is a rectangle when you open it up. The thing is, this length is going to be the circumference of that circle, which is 2 pi r. Pretty neat, huh? So, when you want to solve for h, what do you need to do? So you know s and r and everything else, and pi is 3.14 and so forth. I want to solve for h. So this is what you have. S equals 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h. Now, I want to solve for h. That means I need to get rid of this. 2 pi r squared, the whole thing. Put your bar. Okay, you have s minus 2 pi r squared equals, these two go, 2 pi r h. And guess what? You want to isolate h? Just get rid of 2 pi r. Do not scratch those off because this one doesn't have that in it. Then you have h equals bar. Make sure bar is aligned with the equal sign. S minus 2 pi r squared over 2 pi r. Okay? Pretty neat. Now I'm going to do an example where you'll plug in numbers. That's another good example. Let's say I have an A, B, C, something like that. All right, the perimeter all around is 12 feet. And the perimeter formula is A plus B plus C. That only makes sense. You just add up all the sides. All right, so A, 3B, all that stuff. So you can do 2 ways. They're asking, what is C? So one way is just deal with this formula alone. P equals A plus B plus C. That's one way. And then to isolate C, what you need to do is subtract B from both sides. So you have, and then subtract A from both sides. Okay, so now you have your formula, then you can plug in the numbers. So you have 12, B is 4, and A is 3. Do them from left to right. 12 minus 4, that's 8, minus 3, that's 5. 5 what? Feet. Oh, I should have put some, or you can put that little notch in there so to show that it's feet. When you do a word problem with units and stuff, you have to put the units. Okay, this is one way. The second way is plug in the numbers first, and then solve for your letter. That's another way. I don't know which one you like. Instead of P, you put 12. A is 3, and B is 4. Guess what? If you do it that way, you have 4 plus 3 is 7. Now, I just combine the like terms on one side. Then I need to get rid of the 7. C equals 12 minus 7. That's 5. What? Feet. Okay? So I get the same answer. You should be able to do it both ways and feel comfortable with both ways. So I showed you how to do it both ways, and make sure that you know how to handle those formulas.